My dad demanded I be a bridesmaid at my golden brother Ethan's lavish wedding, threatening to cut financial support if I refuse. I can't afford the $3,000 cost, feel trapped, and resent being forced into debt for a role I didn't want. AITA for considering backing out? I'm sitting here typing this out in my cramped studio apartment, the kind where the radiator hisses like it's got a personal vendetta, and I'm still reeling from the absolute mess that's been my life for the past few months. I need to get this off my chest, and I need to know if I'm the asshole here, because my head's spinning, and I'm starting to question my own sanity. This is about my dad, my brother, and a wedding that's turned into a family landmine. Buckle up, because this is a long one, and I'm not holding back. For context, I'm 27, female, and the middle child in a family of 3 kids. My older brother Ethan, 30, is the golden child, always has been. He's the kind of guy who could trip into a pile of manure and come out smelling like roses. Star athlete in high school, Ivy League degree, now a hotshot lawyer with a corner office and a fiancé who looks like she stepped out of a bridal magazine. Then there's my younger sister, Lily, 24, who's the baby of the family and gets away with everything because she's figuring herself out. Me? I'm just me. I work as a graphic designer, freelance mostly, which means I'm perpetually one late invoice away from eating instant noodles for a month. I'm not a failure, but I'm not Ethan, and my dad never lets me forget it. Growing up, Ethan was the sun, and the rest of us were just planets orbiting around him. My dad, let's call him Greg, would go to every one of Ethan's football games, screaming his head off, but when I had art shows or presentations, he'd have a work thing or just forget. Once, in 8th grade, I won a regional art contest, and my piece was displayed at the local library. I begged him to come see it. He promised he would, but he never showed. Later, he said he got caught up at Ethan's practice. That's the kind of thing that sticks with you, you know? Like a splinter you can't quite dig out. Fast forward to now. Ethan's getting married to his fiancée Claire in a few weeks. Claire's nice enough, polite, pretty, the kind of person who says, "Bless your heart," and means it. The wedding's a big deal. Black tie, at some fancy vineyard, with a guest list that reads like a who's who of Ethan's law firm and Claire's old money family. I was happy for them, honestly. I even designed their save the dates for free as a gift, which took me hours because Claire kept changing her mind about the font. But I did it, because that's what you do for family, right? Here's where it gets messy. About a month ago, I got a call from my dad. No, how are you? No small talk, just straight to the point. He said I had to be at Ethan's wedding. Not, "We'd love for you to come," or "It'd mean a lot to Ethan." No, it was an order, like I'm still a kid who needs to be told to clean my room. I told him I was already planning to go, but then he dropped the bomb. I had to be in the wedding party. Apparently, Claire's sister, who was supposed to be a bridesmaid, had to drop out because of some medical issue, and they needed someone to fill in. Claire suggested me, which I thought was sweet at first, until I realized what it actually meant. Being a bridesmaid isn't just showing up in a dress and smiling for photos. It's a commitment. Bachelorette parties, bridal showers, fittings, rehearsals, all of it. And it's expensive, like thousands of dollars expensive. I looked into it after the call, and between the dress, custom, non-negotiable, $800 minimum, the shoes, the hair and makeup, mandatory, another $200, the bachelorette weekend in Napa, flights, hotel, activities, easily $1,500, and miscellaneous gifts and contributions, I was looking at dropping at least $3,000. That's more than I make in a good month. I'm barely keeping as it is. My car needs new tires, my laptop's on its last legs, and I just had to pay for a root canal that my crap insurance barely covered. I explained this to my dad as calmly as I could. I said I'd love to be there for Ethan and Claire, but I couldn't afford to be a bridesmaid. I suggested I could still come to the wedding as a guest and support them that way. That's when he lost it. He started yelling, actually yelling, about how I'm always making excuses and never step up for family. He said Ethan's wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime event and that I'm being selfish for not prioritizing it. Then came the kicker. He said if I didn't get my act together and agree to be a bridesmaid, he'd cut me off financially. Now let's be clear. I'm not some trust fund kid living off daddy's money, but my dad does help me out sometimes. He pays for my phone bill, $80 a month, which he insists on because it's on the family plan. And last year he gave me $2,000 to help with a deposit on my apartment. It's not like I'm mooching, but that help makes a difference when you're scraping by. The idea of him pulling that support felt like a punch to the gut. I tried to reason with him. I explained that I'm not saying no to the wedding, just to the bridesmaid role because of the cost. I even offered to help in other ways, like designing more stuff for free or helping with day of coordination, but he wasn't hearing it. He said, Ethan's always been there for you, and this is how you repay him. Which, by the way, isn't even true. Ethan's not a bad guy, but he's not exactly the doting big brother. He's too busy being perfect to notice what's going on with me. The last time we talked one-on-one was 2 years ago, when he needed me to pick him up from the airport. But in my dad's eyes, Ethan can do no wrong, and I's the screw-up who's letting the family down. I hung up the phone shaking. I cried for a solid hour, which I hate admitting because I'm not a crier. I felt so trapped. Like no matter what I did, I was going to be the bad guy. If I said yes, I'd be drowning in debt and resentment. If I said no, I'd be the selfish daughter who ruined Ethan's perfect day and got cut off by my own dad. I called my sister Lily, hoping for some backup, but she just said, "Why don't you just do it? It's not that big a deal." Easy for her to say. She's not in the wedding party because she's too busy with school, and my dad's paying her rent. I tried talking to my mom, who's been divorced from my dad for a decade and stays out of his drama, but she just sighed and said, "You know how Greg is. Just do what you think is right." Gee, thanks, Mom. I ended up emailing Claire directly, hoping I could explain my situation and find a compromise. I was super polite, laid out the financial issue, and suggested I could still be involved without being a bridesmaid. She responded with this long, sugary message about how much it would mean to Ethan and how she really sees me as family. But she didn't budge on the bridesmaid thing. She said they'd already planned the photos and the procession, and it would throw everything off if I wasn't in the lineup. She offered to help with the dress cost, but when I asked what that meant, she said she could cover $200, which is a drop in the bucket. I got the sense she was more worried about her Instagram perfect wedding than about me. So I did something I'm not proud of. I lied. I told Claire and my dad that I'd do it. I figured I'd buy some time, maybe scrape together some money, or at least keep the peace until I could figure out my next move. But the closer the wedding gets, the worse I feel. I've been picking up extra freelance gigs, working late into the night, but I'm still nowhere near covering the costs. I've started skipping meals to save money, and I'm so stressed I can barely sleep. Every time I think about the wedding, I feel this mix of dread and anger, like I'm being forced to perform in a play I didn't audition for just to make everyone else happy. Last week, My dad called again to check in. Read, make sure I wasn't backing out. He started going on about how proud he is of Ethan and how this wedding is going to be a new chapter for the family. I couldn't take it anymore. I snapped and told him that maybe if he cared half as much about me as he does about Ethan, I wouldn't feel like I'm being blackmailed into going broke for a party. He got quiet, then said, "You're being dramatic. This is why you'll never get anywhere in life." That cut deep, deeper than I want to admit. I hung up and haven't talked to him since. Now I'm at a crossroads. The wedding's in 3 weeks. I could suck it up, max out my credit card, and be the dutiful daughter and sister, even though it'll wreck my finances and my mental health. Or I could stand my ground, skip the bridesmaid role, and deal with the fallout, knowing my dad might actually follow through on his threat. I keep wondering if I'm being unreasonable. Like, is it really that big a deal to just do this for Ethan? Am I the asshole for digging in my heels? Or is my dad the asshole for putting me in this position in the first place? I don't know anymore. I just know I'm tired of feeling like the spare tire in my own family. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to be a bridesmaid at my brother's wedding, even if it means getting cut off by my dad? Or should I just swallow my pride and do it? I'm so lost, and I could really use some outside perspective. Edit. Thanks for the responses so far. A few people asked if I've talked to Ethan directly. I haven't, mostly because I'm scared he'll just side with Dad and Claire. But I'm thinking about it. Also, to clarify, my dad's financial support isn't a ton of money, but losing it would make things even tighter for me. And no, there's no way to borrow or rent the dress. It's a specific design Claire picked, and she's super particular about everyone matching.